So I appreciate the media coming out today, and in light of what happened yesterday with the Braves announcing that they were going to Columbus, Georgia, certainly saw my press release that we're disheartened about it, for sure. I mean, they've been a part of our community for 20 years. The Foster administration, along with Haley Barber, Dean Kirby, and Tim Bennett and several other people really worked hard to get them here, bring them here, along with Spectrum, which is a subsidiary of Yates. They did a tremendous job of getting them here and building that stadium. Sentimental to me, believe it or not, I was a patrol officer on the midnight shift, and I watched the stadium get built at nighttime because Yates had such a rush on it. So, but with the team being gone, then it's certainly, from our standpoint, we're going to hit the ground running. We don't own the stadium. Spectrum does. However, that means we're going to be working along beside them. Some good concepts. They're a progressive company. They know what they're doing. I have a lot of faith in Jason Voyles and what he does for them. So one of the things I want to make sure that our citizens in Pearl and also in the metro area and within the state, so last legislative session, we knew that the lease was coming up, and we had a new owner, which is Diamond Baseball Holdings, and we were concerned that, you know, we want to make sure that we keep them here, and there were some revenue streams that they wanted out of the current contract or current lease, and the county and the city joined together to go to the legislature, and Dean Kirby and Josh Harkins and Lieutenant Governor on the Senate side, and of course Speaker on the other side, Speaker Gunn, they were instrumental in getting this legislation passed, along with Manley Barton. So we put some legislation together to provide some incentives up to over $1 million to subsidize the lease because of Diamond Baseball's demands. And so the article that came out several weeks ago, we didn't pay that much attention to it because over the years, you see articles come out periodically about the Braves, right? Knowing if they're going to stay or leave. And so I knew that it was a little bit more of an authentic situation when we had Columbus looking at going out to the bond market for $50 million to renovate. And so yesterday with that 6-3 vote, that sealed the deal. And apparently our legislation didn't hold them, as we see that the press release that came out. So I think it came down to a logistical issue. So I don't want to guess about where. I want to just deal in facts here. I just want to say what we did on our end. Yes, Scott.
Have they already received the $1 million in extra revenues this year, or is it set
no?
To go into effect?
This would go into effect. It was a private and local legislative bill, and it would go into effect at the term of the lease. It's 2025 to 2035, so it was a 10-year period that would have went into effect. Of course, it didn't have to because obviously the news that we received yesterday. But we were very, very aggressive trying to keep this ball team here. And so again, you know, from my standpoint, we're going to be a good partner as we move forward. And I think that one of the major things about our facility, and I don't know if you are aware about it, I say our facility, the city facility is owned by Spectrum. MLB changed standards on baseball stadiums throughout the United States. So there's a lot of unfunded mandates going on throughout cities and counties throughout the United States. Now, Trustmark Park was designed really well 20 years ago. So it only needed $1 million worth of upgrades, and those upgrades have been done. And we did receive some of that this past legislative session. So the ballpark's in really good shape.
So that's what was going to be, what the legislature approved was going to go to upgrade the visitors clubhouses and training facilities and.
No, that's a separate issue.
That was going to be separate.
That's a separate issue. So I mean, the facilities. This has been upgraded at this point. We meet MLB standards according to the threshold when you have to have it done is by 2025. This was the legislation that we had passed this past legislative session was to incentivize the lease because they were taking revenue streams. And so with us doing that, we thought that, hey, look, we're going to be able to keep them here. And then, you know, initially we thought, hey, with a Diamond Baseball Holdings, they're a part of a larger organization with WWE, UFC, and so we thought that we would have further entertainment events at that location.
Was that $1 million each year to go to them under this proposed legislation?
The proposed legislation would subsidize the lease for 10 years between the city and the county. Yeah, we would split that cost to help supplement the lease, in which some people think that that's, I mean, I'll just be honest with you, that's corporate welfare. But here's what, I had this same conversation with our alderman. If you start bringing in somebody, another entity, there's going to be incentives on the field. So my thought process is, at the time, I'm old school here, so a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. So if I got a team here, let's try to do as much as we possibly can to keep them. And we did. We were at the Capitol, and we worked really hard with our delegation, and like I said, with leadership on the state, county, and city level. And so we felt good about it going into this year. This is a shock to us, but hey, look, we'll keep moving. The city's doing great from our standpoint. Go ahead, sir.
Did Diamond come back to you guys to ever say, hey, Columbus is doing this? Can you
No, they didn't let us counter. They never provided that information, in which I don't want to provide a bad relationship with them, but at the same time, we didn't know to be able to ante up either.
Does Diamond have any obligation to bring another team here?
No, not currently. They don't after that. Of course, the Braves will be here the 2024 year, but they're not under any obligation. And I would be speculating if they would bring one. They obviously own more minor league teams, so that would possibly be a good thing. In 2005, when all that was developed out there, Pearl's sales tax revenue was about approximately $5 or $6 million a year. With that development out there over the years, we're at 15. We're number 3 in the metro, 15 million a year. We're number 15 in the metro, 3 in the metro, and number 8 in the state. So, in my opinion, the cost of return is there if you're making that much more money over a 20-year period, which goes back into our general fund. It causes us to be able to pay our police officers more, do more services. So the end game here, big picture, it's been good. So, the silver lining for me in talking to y'all is the Braves came. We have a Bass Pro Shop, the only one in the state. We have a Sam's Club there. We also have the largest outlet store in the state. So it did provide additional business development. We have additional restaurants coming to that area. It's just, for me, we want to make sure that we move forward and get that stadium filled. Nobody likes anything empty.
What do you do now, Jay? Where do you go now that these guys are walking out the year? Do you go start recruiting golf clubs? Do you want a Top Golf? Do you want to?
I think all those are on the table, but I don't own the stadium. I'm saying that I'm making sure, and like I said, Jason Voyles is a very smart guy, and we've worked well together over the years, and I think he's going to bring some concepts that we're going to be able to live with. We want to make sure that it's, anytime, it's obviously set up for a baseball stadium to play ball. If there's other some concepts that are out there, we're willing to work with them to bring them in. If it works, then I'm good with it. But I think when you have an area that's thriving in a business district, we have business development in that area, and then you have a stadium that's conforming to 2025 standards, I think that we have a good opportunity to recruit something in there. And again, being optimistic about it, you have a year to work on it.
Are you worried that some of the other businesses that are tied to Trustmark might leave?
No, I don't think so. Because here's the thing. This is the way I look at it. We have a level 4 fire protection. We have a good police department. We know for preventing crime. So there's other factors that play in that allows businesses to thrive and grow. Yes, sir.
Of course, we all know that, just because Columbus has said we're going to put $50 million in, renovate this whole stadium, we're going to be ready for 2025. Delays happen. What would happen if they couldn't get their facility ready by 2025 in April? Would you be willing to take the Braves back for a year or 6 months or whatever?
Well, it's not my decision. I understand, because I've dealt with construction quite a bit being in this job, and you have delays, and you know, things don't get done. When I think that's probably going to be I can't make that call because I don't own the stadium. I really can't.
You talked about the sales tax collections blossoming since this thing was built. How much did the Embrace mean to actual Pearl City tax collections? Can you break out or segment that out?
I would say here's the deal as far as revenue. When you have a stadium like that in the connection, what we call over there, it provides something that large, something that nice. It helps because it's kind of got the wow factor to it. Didn't generate a whole lot of revenue. It was a lot of quality of life for us. But I think your outlying areas, it did, because when stores come in, I think people do ask about the Braves. So it did have an appeal to businesses as they come in because you had the Braves there.
And that's what I was wondering, if you had a breakdown of how much they actually generated in sales tax revenues. I'm not talking about touch a truck or... Yeah,
I'm not, you know, I don't have that figure sitting in front of me, Scott. I'm saying that they did generate some revenue. It wasn't a tremendous amount where it's going to affect the city. More of the factors said we had the Mississippi Braves inside the city of Pearl. So that was, you know, I look at this really as a loss for the state, a loss for Rankin County, a loss for Pearl. You know, I know that subsequently ball clubs is kind of the formula. But, you know, I just didn't think it would come to fruition. I certainly didn't want it to come to fruition under my administration, that's for sure.
You think you're losing value was the fact that the Braves just wanted to have their farm clubs in Georgia?
I think so. I mean, that's speculation, but I mean, you know, when you have a stadium that's conforming and you're not having to make a city spend a lot of money to get it back to the 2025 MLB standards, I think that's probably what their choice was. That's what their thought process. I think probably, I mean, this is speculative talk, Mr. Cleveland. I'm not going to be able to say that. I think that they wanted it within their state. I think logistically it was going to work best for them. Even though Pearl, Mississippi is not that far from Atlanta, it's 6 hours, but I think it's something that they just really wanted. I don't, because we provided a very safe environment. We worked well. We keep that area up as far as property maintenance and law enforcement and everything else. I think it was just a personal thought process where that's where Atlanta wanted them. Or, I mean, Diamond Baseball owns them, but I think they probably collaborated some to make this deal happen. From my standpoint, everybody has different business plans. And between the technology today and travel, I think it's just a personal choice if you want them that close. I don't think that really affects long-term recruiting down the road. No, I could be wrong. I'm not infallible, okay? I'm not an errant. I make mistakes. So, but I think that everybody has different business plans within their organizations. So we saw an increase in attendance. Matter of fact, and so if I get this wrong, at one time after COVID or before COVID, Pete Lavin had said that we had 11% increase. So for years, Trustmark Park was a player development. Wasn't about profit and loss. You know what I'm saying? They were developing players for Atlanta. Endeavor, or better known as Diamond Baseball Holdings, they're a for-profit company. So that might have changed their thought process, and then here we are a year and a half later, and they're going to Columbus. Any more questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.